Welcome to another Witcher lore video, guys. So this video has actually been suggested to me quite a lot, but I wasn't quite sure how to make this video, as this particular creature has a lot of information about it. And this creature is, as I'm sure you can tell by the title, a dragon. So I came to the conclusion that it'd be best to make a very basic video on dragons, and then for later videos go into each subspecies of dragons. So for today's video, I'm just going to tell you the basics of dragons as a whole species. In the Witcher universe, a dragon falls under the category of draconid, and draconids are said to be the living embodiment of chaos, at least from a Nordling point of view. If you were to see one of these beasts, you should expect to see a four-legged reptile with large bat-like wings. It will also have a narrow but triangular head, along with a forked tongue and a long elegant neck. You should also expect to see one of these creatures in the 6 colours that dragons are generally found in, which I will go over now. So there are currently 6 known types of dragons, which include green dragons, red dragons, black dragons, white dragons, rock dragons, and golden dragons. And as I imagine you all know, just based on the names of these subspecies of dragon, the dragon's skin colour varies between each subspecies. For example, they can be greenish, reddish, dark brown, grey, light grey, pale blue, and of course gold for the golden dragons. And as I said at the start of the video, I'm not going to get fully into each of these dragon subspecies, as each is quite unique compared to the other, as this is just supposed to be a basic overview, and as I said earlier, I feel as if each subspecies deserve their own lore video. As for a dragon's environment, it's quite simple. It depends on each subspecies, but generally, dragons live high in the mountains, or at least in high areas that can't be accessed easily by humans. As for combat, dragons not only have their incredible strength, size, ability to fly, and in a golden dragon's case, polymorph, but they are also able to absorb magical energy and breathe dangerous substances such as acid, hot steam, or fire. And it's quite funny because the only other known creature to absorb magical energy is a cat. And it's not really explained why, but it's just one of those things that you have to accept, and perhaps I'll do a theory video on it in the future. So generally dragons will just use their breath to get rid of their enemies, but in a more close quarters situation, or if they happen to be in battle with another dragon, they may rely more heavily on a powerful swipe of their claws, or if it's a bit more of an open area, their ability to fly. So in the Witcher world, dragons are viewed differently by each people. For example, in the Northern Kingdoms, dragons are generally viewed as a menace or a foe to be vanquished, and some Nordlings even consider dragons to be the single greatest enemy of the human race. But in some areas, such as Zerrikania, dragons are said to be treated as godlike beings. I mean, the entire name of this country, which is of course Zerrikania, is said to be derived from a legendary golden dragon known as Zerrikantement. Generally, the fear surrounding these creatures is due to the fact that the general human folk can't distinguish dragons from their reptilian relatives, for example forktails or wyverns. An interesting point to note is that some people simply hunt and kill dragons for the vast treasures they are said to hoard. For example, you have some groups that are even dedicated to this profession, such as the Crinford Reavers, and I have actually made a video on the Crinford Reavers if you're interested. Over there I go over all their sort of deeds and everything they did with dragons, so if you want to find out more about them, I'd go and recommend watching that video. And some people also hunt dragons because of the fact that there are rare alchemical ingredients that can be gathered from their bodies, such as their teeth, scales, or their tears. Their blood can also be useful. Also, as a side note, a common misconception is that witches don't hunt dragons, when in fact they do. There is even the famous Witcher George, which I actually named my channel after, who became a legend in the Witch universe for doing such an act with just a steel sword. This misconception generally stems from Geralt stating that killing dragons isn't in the Witcher's code, when in fact, the Witcher's code in itself doesn't exist, and is more a polite way for witches to refuse certain contracts that don't fit their personal code of ethics, or they may simply not want to complete the contract. Geralt's personal reason for not killing dragons is because they are sentient and intelligent creatures, and in some cases even more intelligent than humans. However, Geralt will assist in their killing if they are causing harm to people with malicious intent. So for this next segment of the video, I'm just going to list all the notable dragons. So there is Murtabraka, which I think I'm saying correctly. There is Ockfist, Villentretenmirth, or as you may know him, Borch 3 Jackdaws, the Golden Dragon, Germinus, Zerrikantement, and Sacenthesis, or as you may know her, Saskia. There are also the other draconids that are considered to be dragon-like, and these include Draco lizards, flying drakes, forktails, ornithodraken, slizzards, and wyverns. Finally, to end today's video, I'm just going to read the Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings journal entry on dragons. Once dragons were commonplace, and ruled the continent absolutely. dragonfire was the bane of cities, and dragon appetite was a constant threat to the first colonizers. Sorcerers stood against these creatures, witches were created to fight them. Today, dragons are nearly extinct. Sometimes forktails and sly lizards can be seen, but compared to dragons, they are like stray cats to tigers. The beasts were exterminated by professional hunters such as the famed Crinford Reavers. Alchemical components found in a dragon's body are among the most expensive on the market, and are in high demand among sorcerers. The beast's roast tail is a rare delicacy. The legends are true. Dragons like to gather hordes and have a voracious appetite that they satiate by eating all living creatures with no exceptions. Like cats, they like to lounge in places of power, they nap there, drawing energy, yet nobody knows what they use that energy for. There are 5 species of these great worms: white, black, red, green, and rock. Golden dragons, extremely intelligent, gifted with the ability to assume the shape of any creature, are of course a fairy tale for little children. Dragons are smart indeed, but they cannot speak, much less polymorph. The best tactic when meeting a dragon is to pray to all the gods with no exceptions. Atheists should run. They can thus extend their lives for a few heartbeats. It must be stressed that any of these choices would end in death when made by an amateur. One fighting a dragon should watch out for its fire above all else. The breath is lethal, momentarily ending the fight. The worms can also fly, and are excellent at maneuvering, so they use the advantage of altitude in combat. A witcher should climb high buildings to surprise the reptile flying by, and to use walls as protection. The beast's jaws are even worse than its paws. They bring instant death. Dragons, like cats, like to toy with their prey, so they sometimes lift it to the air and drop from height when they are bored. Dragons are immune to poisons, unworried by oils which increase bleeding, and unaffected by traps or bombs. One would be hard-pressed to find a soul brave enough to drop a dragon unless it had been hacked to pieces with an axe first. And I wish such an outcome of battle to all dragon slayers with all my heart. So that journal entry is quite interesting, as it seems to imply that dragons and cats are very similar creatures. Which is quite an interesting fact because obviously they both absorb magic, and no other creature does. Perhaps it's the magic that makes them so similar. Anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's video. This is quite a cool one to make. I really like how they're presented in the Witch universe as these kind of intelligent and old creatures, not just mindless beasts, as I feel like it sets them apart from other creatures in this universe massively. But anyway guys, this video is going to take me a long time to do, so I'd really appreciate you clicking the like button, as it does really help out the channel and it's a really cool thing to do, so thank you to every single person that clicks the like button. And also of course, if this is the first video you're finding on my channel, be sure to subscribe, as I do high fantasy lore videos every few days, I do gameplay, and I also plan to branch out into other lore soon, so if you want to be in tune for that, be sure to click the subscribe button. Also of course, be sure to go and follow me on Twitter. I do updates on there whenever I can, I post whenever I do a new video, and I plan to post on there when anything interesting's happening, so be sure to go and follow me on there. And as always, be sure to follow me on Twitch as well. I plan to do some more gameplay on there soon. It's quite fun when I get to do those streams with you guys. I like it when you ask me questions. I like just being able to play a game while you guys watch and being able to chat to you all. So if you want to be in tune for those streams, be sure to go and follow me on there. And finally, a big thank you to the Patreon pledges. You guys are just amazing. It's very, very kind what you do. I just want to say thank you to every single person that donates to me on Patreon, because it's just such a kind thing to do. If you guys want to donate to me on Patreon, if you want to follow me on Twitter, Twitch, all the links are in the description. There's also a Discord link down there, which we have active chats on every day. So if you want to do any of that, be sure to check the description. Anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's video and learned something new, or if not, just enjoy today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have an awesome rest of the week.